All right, so I am Troy.
Kyle.
We're here to talk to you about adaptive sports, adaptive athletics, and today's topic is going to be
Some swimming.
swimming. Woo!
Easy sport. Very easy sport. Fun. Great fitness. Can be competitive. But as an adaptive athlete, we have to adapt. But it can easily be done, believe it or not.
Which is awesome, and let's talk about some of these adaptations.
Well,
Adaptions.
I lost my leg about 4 years ago. Spent quite a bit of time at the local VA hospital doing rehab. And as I was doing physical therapy for my prosthesis, one of the therapists mentioned pool therapy. And I immediately said, sign me up. I've been a swimmer my entire life, not competitively, but in a lake, in a pool. If there's one around, I'm swimming. Have a small in-ground pool at home, which after I lost my leg and everything healed up, I would get in the pool, but I really didn't know how to swim with one leg. So I got signed up with pool therapy, and the therapist really challenged me, and I'm very appreciative of what she did. We just started off with the simple things. She made me tread water. Of course, checking to see if I could hold my breath underwater, if I could recover, etc. Started at the basics of swimming. I had to relearn how to swim. And then it wasn't just the swimming, that the VA, and I'm sure any therapy pool, it doesn't have to be through the VA. So if you're an adaptive athlete, you can talk to your physical medicine rehab doc, physical therapist. I call them toys because alongside on the deck of the pool, of course, you got the kickboards. You've got all sorts of toys, things to get you to work out. One of the ones she had me do is there were basically dumbbells made out of foam, would be on the deep end, and she would have me floating, kicking my leg, doing some shoulder exercises, and just using the different adaptations to strengthen the arms, strengthen the core, as well as actual swimming. Over the weeks, of course, I was in a therapy pool, which I thought was 25 yards long. Turned out to be only 18, but at the end of that, I was ecstatic to be able to swim 2 laps of the pool. I thought it was amazing to me to be able to swim one leg. What I thought was 100 yards turned out to be 70. But as I was going through the therapy, I realized there were a couple things that would really help me swim. One, rec therapy flipper. I used to scuba dive before I lost my leg, so I'm used to the big long fins. This rec therapy flipper, actually bought one online, is a tremendous help for somebody with only one leg. If you're an above or below knee amputee, this would work, because I don't think you want to take your prosthesis in the water. I also discovered that I really like using these, I don't want to call them neoprene or foam, but the gloves. They give me a little more resistance in the water, so I'm able to pull a little harder. There are other ones that are hard plastic that strap on. These I also bought online, and I use these whether I'm swimming in the pool or swimming in the lake, and I don't feel right without them. I mean, I feel more like a seal or a dolphin now or something. I don't know. But and the pool therapy for me was just a little over 2 years ago, and I have steadily progressed from that 100 yards, and I started challenging myself to see how far I could go. I used to be a runner, and I've done some 10 before. I've done some 10Ks and even half marathons, but swimming, I never thought I'd be able to do it. But now, just with that therapy and challenging myself, that I'm able to either in a pool or in the lake. I'm up to 1.5 miles, a couple of days a week.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. Now, there was many, many things in what you just told these folks. But two things. Number one, a coach seemed to make a difference for you.
Very
right?
much.
A therapist, really, in this case. I mean, lots of coaches out there.
Yep.
Everyone's a coach.
Yep.
But you want a qualified, someone trained in what you're trying to do, whatever that might be, in this case, swimming.
Yep.
And the second thing was mindset. You shifted your mindset, even though you were misinformed in your head, basically. You thought it was 100. You did it. You're impressed with yourself. Then you went, oh, it was only 70 something.
Yeah.
And, but that motivated you. Like, look, I made that.
Yeah.
And now you've got the belief, and that shifting of the mind is, I think, as important as anything.
Oh, exactly. Having a trained coach, she was also a physical therapist as well as a pool therapist, and she knew how to challenge me, and she did it safely, and she started the basics and worked her way up. And the other thing is, for the longest time, I thought that was a 25-yard pool. So after a month or so, I was actually able to do 20 laps. So now I'm thinking, great, I just did 1,000 yards. And then one of the rec therapists said, no, this isn't 25 yards. And she measured it off using an app on her phone, and I figured it was 18 yards. It's a therapy pool. Very warm, and I love it. It's always at 90 degrees out at the VA here in town. So then I realized, nope, not 1,000, only 720. But that became a challenge to build up to the 1,000. So once I got, and I also, Troy talked about the mindset. As a runner, or if you're doing other adaptive sports in a racing wheelchair, you can change the scenery. You can, I used to always talk about, you could use a Walkman and listen to some music, but you can always change the scenery. In a pool, the scenery never changes. So, or even in the lake, because I've got a certain distance in the lake that I figure out it's about 110 yards down, 110 back, but I do laps in the lake. You have to find a way to get your mind geared up for that, but also so you can enjoy it. To swim that 1.5 miles, I'm swimming for over an hour, and it takes a while. For some reason, my brain goes into doing math, and I'll figure out what percentage I'm done. I can remember to count the laps too, so I don't forget, but what percentage I've done. And when I'm swimming the pool, there is a clock that I can see when I turn around. So I try to calculate how long I have left, what is my time for that lap, and I try to keep that time consistent. So it's truly a mindset, and you have to have external forces as well as internal forces. Now, swimming, I look at it as a competition, and I've started getting into some competitions. But for me, it's the competition against myself. But it's also great fitness. We've got some other videos talking about strengthening exercises and stretching the shoulder and the arm. That's 75-80% of my swimming, but I do try to cheat with the leg. But it's so much upper body that you have to keep it stretched out. You have to keep it strengthened. There are other videos that we've talked about that, but that helps us adaptive athletes in all sports. Really helps in swimming. And yes, before I lost my leg, I could do every stroke other than the breaststroke. Still can't do the breaststroke, but I can do the side stroke with one leg. I can do a butterfly, I can do the breaststroke. I can do a backstroke, freestyle, which has led me to, through my physical medicine rehab doc, some different competitions with the VA. There's a wheelchair games, which is, now I'm doing, you can do anything from 25-meter freestyle up to 100-meter. They have an individual medley, which is backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle. No butterfly there. Of course, I don't get to use my flipper, but so that's some of the training I do, as well as the Golden Age Games. Yes, I'll admit I'm of the age to do a Golden Age Games. So there's competitions through the VA, but there's also competitions all over the nation. There's a group called Move United that sponsors all types of adaptive athletics, both track and field, but also hand cycle, bike, racing, wheelchair, but also swimming, both in a pool and outside. Now, I decided that since I can swim a mile and a half, there are lake swims. One here in town that's coming up in a month. It's about a mile and a quarter. So I've talked to the organizer of that and said, can I use my flipper? He said, of course. And they're gonna give me a special color swim cap because I will be one of the probably the first hip disarticulation to swim this lake, and one of the rare amputees. And to me, it's a challenge to be able to go out and do an open water swim with 150 other athletes, that some of them doing this lake swim in 25 minutes, and I plan on doing it in less than an hour, but it's something. And then there are other lake swims. I've seen some as long as 10K or 15K, so 6 or 9 miles. Am I gonna do that? Nope. But a mile and a half, sure. And then, of course, there are other competitions. They're with the hand cycle, bike, and the swimming. They're biathlons. They're triathlons. So you got the swimming, the biking, and then the racing, wheelchairs, you're running. These are Paralympic sports too. So if you want to, as an adaptive athlete, if you need an inspiration, Paralympic trials are going on right now. The Paralympics are coming up about the same time as the regular Olympics in Paris. Just about any place that does a triathlon, whether it's a small town like where I'm from, or larger cities like Chicago, just about any triathlon, you will be able to compete as an adaptive athlete in that as well. But they also have adaptive athlete activities only, and of course, as an adaptive athlete, if you're doing it, say like the wheelchair games for the VA, you'll get classified based on your disability. I may be in the pool with other amputees, but I'm only competing against other hip disarticulations. Bilateral amputees will be competing against other bilateral. If you have a spinal cord injury, they will classify you based on the level. So you're only competing against like athletes, whatever your disability is. We may all be in the pool swimming at the same time, but you're only competing against similar athletes, which is great because somebody that's an above or a below a knee amputee is likely going to be able to swim a little better than me. So now I have to train, and I want to try to keep up with them. Will I? Nope. But it's nice to have that challenge.
I don't know. I know you, Kyle. I think the answer is yes. Yeah. You will figure out a way to keep up with them. Yeah, I believe that for sure.
The bottom line is find it as a disabled individual, find a sport that you enjoy, but will also challenge you. I was never a swimmer. I had friends in high school that were swimmers, and it still amazes me how far they swim and how hard they train. Now to be able to get in a pool, and still working on my flip turn. Flip turns scare me. I only got one leg, and I don't want to break that ankle. And I don't know about the flip turn. I don't know if my balance is off because I've watched videos and I still can't get it right. And maybe just that flip with one leg, I'm off.
So if you have a suggestion,
please,
we would love to hear that. That would be awesome. How do you do the flip turn?
Because right now, in a therapy pool to swim a mile, I'm doing 48, 50 laps. It's hard to count that high, which is why I like the lake, because then I only got to count to 8. But if I'm competing in a 50-yard or a 100-yard swim, flip turn's going to help me. But right now I just touch the wall and push off. But a flip turn, so I'm working on it. There's always something else out there. And the other thing that I found is that when you're swimming, you are so focused on yourself. you start thinking about your breathing, you start thinking about your stroke, and I've realized why swimming for fitness or fun can actually be pretty spiritual or self-awareness, because you really feel or think about what your body's doing. So even though I'm swimming a mile, you know, it's kind of relaxing, and I swim relatively early in the morning. When you get out of the lake and the birds are chirping, you know, and that's all you hear, and there's no boats out on the lake or anything, it's quiet and calm. It actually is a lot of fun. And if you're not a swimmer and you want to get into it, see if there's somebody, a pool therapist that you can get with. Your friend, if you have friends that are swimmers, bring them along so that they can help you. Don't just jump into a lake by yourself. I stay in the relatively shallow, between a few docks, really no boats, so I'm pretty safe. Pool, whether it's a therapy pool, a lap pool. I also swim at the Y Center here in town, and the lifeguards are always helping. They try to ensure I have one of the outside lanes, a little easier for me to get out of the pool that way. But the people that support us, they're out there. Don't hesitate to ask for help. You know, trainers. I work out with Troy, and a lot of the workouts I do with him, they're generalized workouts, but they help me with my sports, whether it's swimming or any one of the wheelchair sports. But I have learned to love swimming. I loved running when I was an able-bodied. Swimming it's a lot of fun. It's a challenge, and there are a lot of challenges out there. Whether you want to swim in a pool, whether you want to do a biathlon, triathlon, a lake swim, or even if you just want to swim for fun and fitness, I highly recommend it. Yeah, just don't drown.
Don't drown.
Don't drown.
No, please. No.
And it's something I did discover the other day, that once I got out of the water, out of the lake, there were 4 other swimmers that looked like they were swimming around the lake, and they had floats that were somehow either tied around their waist or their torso, and they were very brightly colored. What a genius idea when you're going around the lake that you have this very bright buoy. And I'm starting to think, as opposed to doing laps, or if I want to swim in other lakes, I'm going to have to get myself personal flotation buoy.
I mentioned this to Kyle the other day. I still want to attach a big giant off-road flag that you would put on your car, your truck, not your car, but on your truck. Attach that to his waist. Have it up there.
No.
Nobody would miss him. I mean, you would not hit.
Yeah, but the whole thing I talked about drowning, I think I'm going down.
Don't drown. Please don't drown.
Well, what got me thinking is that I used to scuba dive, so I'm thinking grab a scuba dive flag and I could strap that around my torso or something. So now I got the scuba diving flag. That'll get everybody's attention as it's moving.
When we figure out how I'm going to attach this giant flag to him, we will videotape that and bring it to you, because that's going to be hilarious.
If we do that, we're going to find a way to put little jets on it so it can speed me along. But the same day I was thinking about the scuba diving flag to be noticed. That's when I noticed these other swimmers going by with these little buoys, and it's like somebody's really thinking safety.
Someone's on top of that.
So, and you could tell that they were very lightweight. It didn't affect their stroke at all, and I'm sure they're online. But same thing. Flippers online, these were about $10. These are about $5. There's a lot of things out there that you can use either with a pool therapist or buy online. Use in a pool that you can work out with, that will strengthen you, will make you more comfortable in the water, but also things that will help your stroke, but also help you swim. Don't be afraid to look. You don't have to get out there with 1 foot and 2 hands and swim. There are things out there that will help us as adaptive athletes.
Well, again, I see 2 main keys here to this whole discussion. and that is get a good quality, well-schooled, educated professional. It's great. You mentioned bringing a friend with you. That's awesome. But especially in the beginning, if you're able, and again, that could cost you money. It may be outside of your insurance coverage, whatever. But if you can find a quality coach that has actually worked with someone with your specific situation, that will go like so much better. I believe that. I know it. We've all seen it. Do you need that person forever? No, but just to get, I mean, if you're in a position where you don't have a leg or you don't have a portion of the leg, that's going to throw off everything.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, and someone who's worked with someone in that position has the tricks. They know the ideas. They know the tips of getting you the right tools or toys, as you say.
Speaking of which, I actually threw my pool therapist, for a loop, because she had mentioned that most folks with an amputee, when they go to breathe, they go to the amputated side. For some reason, I can't.
Go the other way.
I roll the other way, and it may have something to do with.
You've always rolled the other way.
I know, I roll the other way. But, then of course, in a race, you're supposed to be breathing to both sides. I don't know. I'm only going to be able to race one way.
One way.
But it's right. And what we're doing here is not trying to be that coach, not trying to tell you how to do things. We're just here to let you know it can be done. That I only have the experience as a hip disarticulation amputee. If you have a different disability, let us know if it works for you, what you've learned. Leave us some comments. I can always learn. And I do different adaptive sports. Not a lot of amputees that I'm involved with, many other disabilities. And some of those folks are out there swimming. And I learn from them. So
again, get a good quality therapist, trainer, coach who has experience in your particular situation, desired goals, whatever it is. Not just somebody who read a book. Get somebody who knows what they're doing. Definitely. And can you rely on your friends to help you out? Absolutely. Yep. But you need to have the base. You need to understand where you're at, get your mindset right. As far as mindset goes, you can put in the comments mindset, and I will send you the best book that I've ever read on mindset. So I'll just shoot that over to you. So if you want it, free, nothing. I think it's so important that once you get your mind right, everything in life, regardless of your particular situation, everything in life is better.
As disabled individuals, we're challenged every day. Take that to heart. Challenge yourself other ways. Swimming is, in my opinion, it is a great release. It's relaxing. It's great fitness, and it can be a lot of fun. And the bottom line is, we got to be moving. Adaptive athletes, you're here as an athlete, but a lot of folks may be just investigating how to be an athlete. What can I do? Swimming is easy, it's cheap, but keep moving. As Troy was saying, start safe, be safe, have fun, keep it simple.
We should do a t-shirt with all those words, and then don't drown at the bottom. Because you said
or don't wear a big flag.
Wear a big flag. I'm going to get that big flag.
On a windy day, that might
help you. Or
push you the wrong way.
Yeah, could be a problem.
Then you're in that lap pool where you're just spinning around and not going anywhere.
That's right.
So
as you said about price, the thing about it is that it can be very expensive or not available. Like a lot of places, a lot of cities don't even have a local public pool, but you almost always have a lake somewhere close by that you can access for free.
Oceans?
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah, that's right.
Neighbor's pool, whether they're home or not. I didn't say that.
No, but that's true though, because a lot of us, I don't personally have a pool, but I know somebody who might have a pool, right? So I could set that up with them if they're a friend of yours, that they would love to have you in there.
Yeah.
Stirring up the pool,
Yeah.
keeping it clean, that type of thing. So there's always a way. Like in everything we talk about, there's always a modification. There's always a way to adjust things.
Definitely.
And
don't forget that freestyle is great, but there's nothing stopping you from doing the side stroke. Flip over, do the backstroke. Do the breaststroke. If you're really good, do the butterfly. But that's the great thing about swimming. It does give you the variety of strokes, plus all the things, kickboards, all the different styrofoam weights, flippers, mask and snorkel. Yeah, you can still scuba dive as an amputee. I haven't tried it yet, but I plan on it. So,
surely could snorkel though.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Although, make sure that there's somebody that swims slower than you. So if there is a shark, they're going after the slower person, not you.
Or
You've already lost a limb. We don't need to lose the other one.
Or an alligator.
Or an alligator if you're swimming in Florida.
Crocodilian. Yeah.
No. That's why I'm going to stay in a pool in a lake. Not a lot of crocodiles, not a lot of alligators. Haven't seen a shark in a lake yet, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, if you see one, let us know.
You'll hear me screaming and hopping away as fast as possible. Yes, I was around when Jaws came out.
That's right.
And I would prefer not to swim in an ocean. It's very nice and comfortable, too salty. I'm sticking to lakes. Although, after a storm, there are an awful lot of weeds that you run into. And there are currents. It's kind of cool. You're swimming in a lake, and there's a cold current. Go a little further. There's a warm current. And the toughest part, you don't have the lane markers or the lane lines. So with one leg, be careful. You got to keep looking up because you will drift. And that's either going to make you swim further or you're going to swim into something. I like the pool, but there's an awful lot of turns, which waste time. I like the lake. I just got to remember to count how many laps I do. But I was taught by a swimmer that you can count your strokes. So I know how many strokes it takes me to do the 18-yard pool. I know how many strokes it takes me to the 25-yard pool. Okay. So now in the lake, I can count to 110, and I know that it's 110 yards down, 110 yards back. I can add that up. That's 220. 8 laps is a mile. So are they longer laps? Yep. But then you can feel the currents and watch for the sharks.
There you go. Yes. Well, and again, that's a lot of counting for me. I would have to come up with a different way. So don't be stuck. Again, we're not here to tell you what to do. We're just give you some guidance, some ideas, and it works well for him. I would have to think of something else. I'm not sure what I would be thinking of, but it would be something else. That's a lot of. I'm amazed that you could do that much swimming.
That's why the lake is a lot better. I can count to 8 a heck of a lot easier than I can count to 48.
48's a lot.
That's a lot. And I do. There are other veterans that I swim with that will swim, close to a mile, but they use little markers at the end, so they go down and they put out like a little golf ball and then back for another one, so they count their laps that way. It works.
Sure.
That's what works for them. And of course, real swimmers, you got the little competitive swimmers, high school, college. They'll have the little. Somebody will be flipping the numbers over for them, or you actually have a friend there yelling out for you and counting for you.
Yeah.
But you can also you don't have to count laps. Swim for time. If you can see a clock, or if there's a clock in your pool, say, okay, I want to swim for a half hour. Who cares how far you go? You're swimming. You're moving.
It's true.
And it is a great exercise. Swimming is healthy. It's great fitness. Therapy pool is warm. Indoor pool is warm. Lake is a little different. But of course, you have all the oh goodness gracious! Way too many surgeries, brain dead. I want to call it a dive skin. That's what we used to use for diving. But the neoprene shorties and long.
Sure, yeah. There's plenty of different attire.
Yeah, so you can swim in relatively colder weather.
You could wear a wetsuit if you want.
Thank you. See, that's why I have him around, because he knows things. Yeah, and of course, shorties. You know, don't necessarily need 2 legs.
For a second there, I thought he was talking about me. Sure.
No, but you know, so the wetsuits. For me, my internal body temperature is kind of set high anyway, so using a wetsuit is going to be a little uncomfortable. But
well, you know, and you could you wouldn't need a wetsuit around our area. In general speaking,
unless you're swimming in May.
But if you wanted to go any of the Great Lakes, I mean, you could set up. See, this would be kind of a fun thing for me. Again, it's free, right? I mean, generally speaking, you can go to most of the Great Lakes and swim in each one of them. Make that a goal of your, you know, and you go 1 year. Maybe it takes you 5 years or 3 years or whatever.
I'll tell you though, even in our little lake here, when a boat goes around, you get the waves. That messes with you.
Of course it does.
You know,
but
I'm way up. But
how fun would that be?
You talk about the big waves in like Lake Michigan. I think I'm gonna have to get a couple of buoys to hold me up. But Lake Superior might be challenging.
That's what I was going with. You'd need a wetsuit for Lake Superior.
Need
is a strong word, but even a warm-bodied guy like yourself, who's got a high temperature.
Although
it's cold, man.
If you just go out about 4 steps, you know, water is, you know, you're not quite scrubbing your belly on the sand. All you gotta do is swim down 5 feet and back, and you're out. So you can say you swam a Lake Superior.
Exactly. Yes. Well, I just thought when you were talking about wetsuits, it made me think of that. Yeah. And how fun would that be, though? Just, I mean, if you like that kind of thing. If you don't like that, you know, go to public pools in different cities, just to give you, you know, reasons. If you don't want to do an actual, like I'm not I like biking, right? But I don't want to go out and do a 100-mile bike ride in a event. I'd go do the 100-mile bike ride
for fun.
Yeah, just, hey, you want to go? Okay, let's go. And off we go. So I wouldn't want to get in a race or a swim, right? A lake, organized lake swim. That wouldn't be of any interest to me. But to say that I went to whatever, you know, if you live in Minneapolis or, you know, Minnesota, what do you got, 10,000 lakes? So you could make that your goal to swim every lake in Minnesota. But we got a lot of lakes here too, so you could knock off the big ones.
There's so much out there, and swimming is just one thing. For me, I compete against myself, but
that way you always win.
I'm always coming in first, but I'm also always coming in last.
Yeah,
you know, but it's also adaptive athletes. We're kind of unique. We're very unique. So it's kind of cool that I will likely be the first hip disarticulation to do the Go Rec League swim here in Battle Creek, but also triathlons.
Sure.
Quite a few of our friends do local triathlons. Our wheelchair lacrosse coach does triathlons. But now to go do it as an adaptive athlete, and I think they refer to them as paratris, but that is a Paralympic sport too, triathlons, just like, so it's, what a challenge. I've always wanted to do a triathlon. Now, even as an adaptive athlete, as an amputee, now I get the chance.
So continue to tune in, because you're going to subscribe and you're going to put the bell on so that we get that. But you're also going to put in Mindset in the comments, so I'll send you that book.
It's a great book.
But also follow us, because apparently we've just heard a commitment from Kyle to become a paratri in the actual Paralympics.
Wow.
You heard him throw it out.
I'm not going that level, but a triathlete.
That's what I heard.
A triathlete in my own mind, that it's a challenge, and why not try? And the cool thing is the Go Rec Lake Swim here in Battle Creek, where we're from, this is the 97th year that they've done it, and I plan on doing the 100th as well.
There you go.
Maybe I'll be faster by then.
You could be.
I'll get a bigger flipper.
Get a bigger flipper. That's right.
But just the challenge of being able to do those things. That's me. Find a reason to keep moving. Whether you want to challenge your friends, you want to challenge me. If you know,
I don't know if you want to challenge Kyle.
if you swim a mile, let me know your time. Let's see how I'm doing. You know, there's nothing wrong with competing against friends. You know, somebody out there teach me how to do a flip turn. I mean, I know they're on YouTube, but I want to see how an amputee does it. I want to get better. I want to challenge myself. I want to keep doing it. And swimming is something that you can do if you're not doing it real competitively when you're young and you tear up your shoulder and hips and all that stuff. But swimming is something that you can do. There are guys in their 80s and 90s that are doing the Goguac Lake swim.
For sure.
So that gives me, I don't know, what, 40 more years? Something like that.
I knew a guy that was in the 36 Olympics, and
1936 Olympics.
1936. I'm old. You didn't know I was this old. But 1936 Olympics, and in the mid 80s, he was still swimming.
See?
Yeah, and
Right.
so he was a great guy. You know, very, very fit for his age.
Yeah. It's something you can do almost any place, even if you're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Your hotel has a pool. There's a lake around. You know, go to your friend's house, swim with them. Get involved, get active, have fun. Keep it simple. Just keep moving.
That's all there is to it, really.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
And of course, we did talk about the swimming, but future videos we'll be talking about hand cycle bike, sports wheelchair, racing wheelchair, the different sports I play, how I got into them, and how the training that I'm doing is helping me compete against athletes half my age. And I'm out there to have fun, and it's a whole new world out there. And don't hesitate to jump in with one foot or both feet.
The jokes are just coming off.
Might as
We're
well.
gonna have a dad joke channel.
Now my kids don't even want me to tell dad jokes
Nobody
anymore.
wants-
I'll tell
nobody
amputee
wants
jokes.
that. Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys. Leave comments, subscribe, like, share. Teach us, challenge me.
That's right. If we can all share as a group, we will all be better. And I will share that book with you. Let me know you want it, and like, subscribe, all of those fun things. But yeah, get out there and do it. There's always a way to modify whatever that is. Again, if you don't have a pool access, there's a lake. It does limit you a little bit unless you're in the south.
Yeah, true. But it's, you know, we're
Moving
adaptive
ice.
athletes for a reason. We adapt.
You adapt, yeah.
We adapt in our regular life. We adapt in our sports. But find one that you like and do it. I love swimming. I never thought I never in my life did I think I'd be able to swim a mile and a half.
So
especially.
you're saying you're going to swim in the winter and just push ice chips out of your way?
Nope.
Breaststroke,
I'm doing the pool in winter.
pool in the winter. All right. Well, anyway, make it happen.
Yep.
And yeah, I always like to say get strong, stay fit. But you know, have fun. Have a fun time out there. That's really what it's all about. Having a great time.
Getting strong, getting fit is fun.
There you go. All right.
Take care. Have a great
Take care.
day. Thank you.
See ya.